6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Danushka Madhavala, read by Soundithavam. All arrangements have been made to reopen the schools which has less than 200 students. The police say they will pay attention from today on vans and three-wheelers which transport school students exceeding the capacity. Sri Lanka and Vietnam focus on increasing bilateral relations. Plans have been made to give COVID vaccines to school students island-wide from today. Vehicular movement at the Kohuwala Junction on the Horana-Colombo Road will be limited temporarily from today. High-quality, non-harmful nano-nitrogen liquid fertilizer will be provided for the farmers soon. In world news, the WHO warns the COVID pandemic will drag on into 2022. And in sports, Sri Lanka became the first team to progress to the Super 12 of the ICC T20 Cricket World Cup. All arrangements have been made to reopen the schools which have less than 200 students today. The schools with less than 200 students island-wide are ready to recommence the education activities after more than 4 months. Education Minister Dinesh Gunawardena hopes that the teachers will report for duty today as the government has taken all possible measures to rectify their salary anomalies even amidst the pandemic. The primary sections of schools with less than 200 students will start today. Accordingly, it is planned to commence more than 3,800 schools countrywide under the first phase of the school reopening program. Meanwhile, the health sectors urge students, parents and all others linked with the school system to strictly follow health guidelines. A set of guidelines have already been issued to schools aiming to prevent the spreading of the coronavirus in school premises. Besides, people who run school canteens are strongly advised to abide by health regulations when providing their services. The ambassador of Vietnam to Sri Lanka, Ho Thi Tan Truc, called on Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa at Temple Trees yesterday. During the meeting, the Vietnamese ambassador expressed confidence that there are many opportunities for enhancing bilateral relations between Sri Lanka and Vietnam in the coming years. She said there is a lot of potential for Sri Lanka to attract investment opportunities from Vietnam. The ambassador said that in 2019 alone, trade between the two countries exceeded $300 million. In addition to investments, the ambassador said that her country was interested in enhancing Buddhist relations between Sri Lanka and Vietnam. Agreeing to the suggestion, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa pointed out that bilateral relations could be established in a manner that is important to the people of both countries based on their historical Buddhist heritage. Mrs. Truc said the exchange of Buddhist programs with Haritha TV has already begun. The discussion between the Prime Minister and the Vietnamese envoy focused on the establishment of a Vietnamese Buddhist temple in Sri Lanka and the exchange of academic programs between religious leaders and students of the two countries. It was also mentioned that about 100 Vietnamese Buddhist monks are currently studying in Sri Lanka. Plans have been made to administer COVID vaccines to school students island-wide from today. The vaccination of school children in the ages of 18 and 19 commenced in the Colombo district schools last week. The program is being jointly implemented by the Ministries of Education, Health, Epidemiology Unit and the Family Health Bureau. Sri Lanka yesterday received the first consignment of high-quality, non-harmful nano-nitrogen liquid fertilizer from India. This fertilizer will be provided to the farmers in the eastern province who have already started paddy cultivation for the Maha season through their respective agrarian services centres. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Another 442 COVID-19 cases were detected in Sri Lanka yesterday. The Epidemiology Unit of the Ministry of Health said the number of confirmed infections increased to 533,208. 25,991 persons are currently receiving treatment for the coronavirus at several facilities across the country. Sri Lanka's coronavirus death toll is currently at 13,543, with the cases reported yesterday. The commander of the Sri Lanka Army, General Shavendra Silva, says that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has directed relevant authorities to continue the ongoing interprovincial travel restrictions until 4 a.m. on October 31st. The interprovincial travel restrictions remained in effect despite the relaxation of the quarantine curfew. A week later, the constraints imposed on crossing provincial borders were further extended until October 21st. It was once again decided that the restrictions would remain in place until the end of the month. That came to you in local news.
Mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddha, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddha, the Vidya Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddha Vidya Mahatmya.
Vehicular movement at the Kohuvala Junction on the Horanakalamba Road will be limited temporarily from today, except for public transport buses. The decision was taken due to the construction work of the Kohuvala flyover, and the motorists are requested to use alternative routes as much as possible. According to the Road Development Authority, this vehicular movement restriction is expected to be in effect until the 20th of December and came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddha Vidya Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddha.
And now in Watch Light.
The police say they will pay more attention from today to vans and three-wheelers which transport school students exceeding the capacity. Only 2 students can be transported in a three-wheeler. A van can transport students according to the number of seats. The police media spokesman SP Nihal Taldua said that school students should be transported following health guidelines. The police have requested the drivers to be mindful on health protection of the students, and that came to you in Watchlight.
World News.
Making headlines this morning, the World Health Organization warns the COVID pandemic will drag into 2022. Flooding death toll passes 100 in Nepal and India's Uttarakhand. And Queen Elizabeth II cancels Northern Ireland visit on medical advice. The World Health Organization says the COVID pandemic will go on for a year longer than it needs to because poorer countries are not getting the vaccines they need. Dr. Bruce Aylward, senior leader at the WHO, said it meant the COVID crisis could easily drag on deep into 2022. Less than 5% of Africa's population have been vaccinated, compared to 40% in most other continents. The UK has delivered more than 10 million vaccines to countries in need. It has pledged a total of 100 million. More than 100 people have died after heavy rainfall triggered flash floods in India's northern state of Uttarakhand and parts of Nepal. Homes were submerged or crushed by rocks swept into them by landslides. Some 50 people, including 5 from a single family, died in Uttarakhand and a similar number in Nepal, with dozens more missing in both nations. Rains further south in India's Kerala state also triggered deadly floods, leaving another 39 dead there. 6 more bodies were recovered on Wednesday in Uttarakhand, taking the death toll in the Himalayan state, a popular tourist spot, to 52. Schools have been closed and religious and tourist activities suspended in the state. Queen Elizabeth II has cancelled a trip to Northern Ireland and has reluctantly accepted medical advice to rest for the next few days, Buckingham Palace says. The 95-year-old monarch will remain at Windsor Castle, but is still expected to attend the COP26 climate change conference in Glasgow later this month. The Queen is in good spirits, but disappointed that the visit cannot go ahead, the palace said. She was due to begin the 2-day trip on Wednesday. The nation's longest-reigning monarch has attended a series of events in recent days, hosting a global investment summit at Windsor Castle on Tuesday evening. To conclude this bulletin of world news, the headlines once again. The World Health Organization warns the COVID pandemic will drag on into 2022. Flooding death toll passes 100 in Nepal and India's Uttarakhand. And Queen Elizabeth II cancels Northern Ireland visit on medical advice. That concludes this bulletin of world news.
And now in development news.
2 vessels manufactured by the Colombo dockyard will be handed over to Iraq. The company has earned $350 million through the transaction. JICA has provided financial assistance for the project. The 2 vessels are scheduled to be handed over to Iraq today and came to you in development news.
Sports news.
Sri Lanka won the first round Group A qualifying match for the ICC T20 World Cup played yesterday against Ireland in Abu Dhabi. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka won both matches played so far and became the first team to progress to the Super 12. Sri Lanka won the toss and chose to field. The first 3 wickets fell when the score was 8. The partnership between Wanindu Hasaranga and Pathum Nissanka increased to accelerate the score of the team to 171 runs for the loss of 7 wickets at the end of their allotted 20 overs. In reply, Ireland were only able to score 101 runs all out at the end of 18.3 overs. Wanindu Hasaranga was adjudged as the man of the match and came to you in sports news.
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee? 50 Go sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to September 30th, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency through NSB U Trust for 6 months consecutively. Send more money and increase the chances of winning.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
For the first time in the history of the Ampara district, the Handrich Agrocare Solution and Industries Centre, providing agricultural machinery and guidance, introduced paddy cultivation with technology of row seeding with the help of the drum seeder in Attalachene. With the assistance of the Attalachene Agricultural Extension Centre, the ceremony took place at the Milat Naga Paddy Land, coming under the Attalachene Divisional Secretariat Division recently. Handrich Agrocare Solution and Industries Centre Working Committee Chairman SL Mohammed Anwar presided over the function. That came to you in Business News. We look at economic news next.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee? 50 Go sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners.
In economic news, foreign reserves in the country have increased in August. Exports have exceeded $1 billion. However, the trade deficit has expanded due to the increased expenditure on imports. Tourist arrivals in August also increased when compared with the previous month and came to you in economic news.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, brings Nanasa app, a trilingual educational mobile app for online learning. With video-based lessons from grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with the Nanasa app. No subscription fees. Download via Google Play Store, App Store, Huawei Store or Windows. Dialogue, the future today.
Showers or thundershows will occur over most parts of the island after 1 p.m. Heavy showers above 100 millimeters can be expected at some places in the central, Sabaragamuwa, western, north central and northwestern provinces and in the Galle and Matara districts. A few showers are likely in the eastern and southern coastal areas during the morning. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, brings Nanasa app, a trilingual educational mobile app for online learning. With video-based lessons from grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with the Nanasa app. No subscription fees. Download via Google Play Store, App Store, Huawei Store or Windows. Dialogue, the future today.
To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. All arrangements have been made to reopen the schools which has less than 200 students. The police say they will pay attention from today on vans and three-wheelers which transport school students exceeding the capacity. Sri Lanka and Vietnam focus on increasing bilateral relations. Plans have been made to give COVID vaccines to school students island-wide from today. Vehicular movement at the Kohuvala Junction on the Horanakolambu Road will be limited temporarily from today. High-quality, non-harmful nano-nitrogen liquid fertilizer will be provided for the farmers soon. The WHO warns the COVID pandemic will drag on into 2022. And Sri Lanka became the first team to progress to the Super 12 of the ICC T20 Cricket World Cup. That concludes this morning's news broadcast.